In Colombia, Senator for the historic pact Piedad Cordoba passed away this Saturday. In Palestine, the health ministry confirmed that the Israeli aggression against Gaza has so far killed 24,762 people. And the North Atlantic Treaty Organization admitted to be involved in new plans against Russia. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Colombian Senator for the historical pact Piedad Cordoba passed away this Saturday. According to local media, the progressive leader suffered a heart attack this Saturday and was then transferred to the Conquistadores Clinic in the city of Medellin, where she arrived without vital signs. The senator had suffered several health problems for which she had been hospitalized in 2022 and in 2023. Cordoba was elected senator in the legislative elections of 2022 after spending several years away from public life due to a disqualification against her. Argentine President Javier Milei signed the extension of the extraordinary sessions in the nation's Congress. The sessions were extended to February 15th, while more alliances are negotiated to approve the executive decrees. According to the deputy's regulations, the rulings must be signed 10 days before the end of the period in which Congress is authorized to operate. In this way, the representative gives more time to the representative of the ruling party and the so-called dialogue blocs to reach an agreement on the approval of the so-called omnibus bill, while trade unions and social movements ratify the rejection of the decrees.
We are going to do what we always do: defend the rights of the workers and the dignity of the workers. On January 24th, we will all meet at the National Congress. I will be at the head.
In Argentina, in just 35 days of Javier Milei's government, security forces have killed 32 people, 2 of whom were executed by the practice known as easy trigger. The information was provided by the Coordinating Committee Against Police and Institutional Repression, which warns that legitimizing easy trigger as an intervention practice of police forces will worsen the situation. The extrajudicial execution, which in that country are labeled as easy trigger, have been justified by Patricia Bullrich, current Minister of Security. Meanwhile, Maria del Carmen Verdú, lawyer for the Coordinating Committee, warns that this figure is much higher as it is the result of initial registrations and will undoubtedly increase. In Peru, the judiciary accepted on Thursday the appeal be filed by former President Pedro Castillo to review the 36-month preventive detention measure against him. The measure was ordered by the Supreme Court of Preparatory Investigation, which considers that the appeal has the necessary requirements. In view of this, the Preparatory Investigation Court decided to grant the appeal and submit the request to the Permanent Criminal Chamber of this high institution. Castillo is being held in preventive custody for 36 months since he is being investigated for the alleged crimes of criminal organization, collusion, and influence peddling, among others. Ecuador's security forces intervened on Friday in the Guayas prison known as the Litoral, located in the city of Guayaquil. The commander of Zone 8 of the police, Victor Herrera, named among the prisons inspected the Social Rehabilitation Center of Guayas and the Inca prison in North Quito. These operations in different centers take place in the middle of the state of exception that has been enforced since last week, decreed by President Daniel Noboa. According to police reports, 80 mobile terminals and 36 bladed weapons were seized. In this regard, the police commander assured that the operation will last several days until total control is achieved. Port-au-Prince, capital city of Haiti, is once again under the control of criminal gangs that for the past 4 days have been surrounding a residential neighborhood and in the last few hours have kidnapped 8 people, including 6 nuns. The gang members are keeping the residents of Solino neighborhood, where many police officers have their residence. The few people who have managed to escape claim that they have been waiting for a response from the government for the past 4 days. The reports they make to the radio stations affirm that several houses have been set on fire. In addition, the Episcopal Conference confirmed the kidnapping of 6 nuns of St. Anna Sisters congregation and 2 other people accompanying them when the bus in which they were traveling was hijacked. High-level talks between Mexico and the United States on the immigration crisis were resumed on Friday at the State Department in Washington, D.C., capital of the U.S. The meeting was attended by Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Mexican Foreign Minister Alicia Bárcena, and also included the presence of U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas and Homeland Security Advisor to President Joe Biden, Liz Sherwood Randall. The session reflects the White House's firm stance on the immigration issue, as congressional Republicans demand action to curb its influence. Measures are expected to be announced in response to the immigration situation in both countries.
We, as Mexico, have the intention to help, to support in this great task, great battle that we are all living, which is the high human mobility. It is not only a problem of our region. The whole world is going through a crisis of this difference. But that is why we want to take that road, the road of Robert Frost, the road less transited, but that is going to make the difference. It is going to make a difference for our people, especially on both sides of the border where we are. Look at what happened last year. We received 33 million Americans in Mexico as tourists. So that speaks of the huge relation we have and the million of Mexicans who live in the United States and make a contribution.
We're going to take a short break now, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. The Health Ministry of Gaza confirmed on Saturday that the number of Palestinians killed by the Israeli occupier has reached 24,762 victims. On the 105th day of genocidal operation of Israel's Zionist government against Gaza Strip, the Palestinian entity also confirmed 62,108 injured people. The report also revealed 12 massacres committed by the occupying troops with the support of U.S. and the United Kingdom, in which 142 people were killed and 278 injured just within the last 24 hours. These figures cannot be added to the number of dead and injured remaining under the rubble. UN Women, the United Nations office dedicated to promoting gender equality, warns about the dire situation in Gaza, where 2 Palestinian mothers are killed by Israel every hour. The UN office warns that the weight of this genocide will haunt several generations. Taking into account that 70% of the murders perpetrated by the occupying forces are against women and girls, they estimate that at least 10,000 children have lost their mothers since October 7th. UN Women also warns about the conditions in which Israel forces women and girls in the Palestinian enclave to live, with no security, no medical care, and no shelter. Let's now go with our correspondent in Gaza, Noor Harasin, to learn about the latest Israeli actions in the Palestinian enclave.
This morning, the Israeli drones threw leaflets on southern Gaza, specifically in eastern Khan Yunis and in Rafah city, with the photos. The papers has the photos of the Israeli hostages here in Gaza, asking the Palestinian citizens to report if they saw any one of them or if they know their location. They also left numbers for the IDF. They left an email and a website. However, this technique, it is impossible to succeed. The Israeli forces used this technique back in 2008 and 2006 when Gilad Shalit was abducted. They also used it back in 2014 with Hadar Golden and Aron Shalom. However, nothing changed. No one in Gaza reported the location of any of the hostages, and the reason why is because basically the citizens here in Gaza, they know nothing about the location of the Israeli hostages. There is this unit, the secret unit inside the Al-Qassam brigades, which is the militant wing for Hamas, and it is called Wahdat al-Dhil, and it translates to shadow unit. And these people, their families even does not know who they are, where they are, and this unit is responsible of protecting and taking care of the hostages. Here, Hamas are sending a very important message that the hostages in Gaza, since the abduction of Gilad Shalit, did not manage to get alive from the Gaza Strip unless there is a prisoners exchange deal. Noor Harazin, TeleSUR, Gaza.
UNICEF declared Gaza the most dangerous place in the world for children due to the increase in Israeli siege against the Palestinian enclave. Deputy Executive Director for the United Nations Children's Fund, Ted Chaiban, said that no one seems to listen to the living conditions of the Palestinian children. On the other hand, the Euro-Mediterranean Observatory for Human Rights pointed out that since the Israeli genocide case was brought before the International Court of Justice, the occupation forces have killed more than 1,000 people in Gaza. Furthermore, the organization denounced that contrary to what the Israeli lawyers have said, the facts show that Israel has never stopped its crimes against the population. UN Special Rapporteur on Palestine Francesca Albanese said that Israel has breached international law with its relentless bombardment of Gaza, shelling entire neighborhoods and killing thousands of innocent civilians. In a press conference held in Madrid, Albanese asserted that Israel has done a number of things that are highly illegal, emphasizing the need to respect international humanitarian law in order to protect civilians, prisoners of war, and the sick and wounded. Albanese highlighted that major hospitals have been closed, bombed, or seized by the occupation army. People are now dying not only due to the bombs, but also because of the lack of adequate health infrastructure to treat their injuries. Albanese reiterated that nothing justified what Israel was doing. World leaders of the non-aligned movement have strongly condemned Gaza military operation against Israel in Kampala, capital of Rwanda, where the summit is being held. In a statement led by Cuba, they denounced the cruel acts of genocide committed by Israel against the Palestinian people. This alliance, which was founded in 1961 and now has 120 member countries, is one of the largest political, military, economic, and cultural blocs in the world. It is expected that the judgments made against the occupation and other decisions that arise on this last day of the summit will be added to the final declaration. Syrian official media has confirmed a missile attack on a residential neighborhood in Damascus. The incident occurred in the neighborhood of Maseh on Saturday, and the attack is credited to Israeli occupation forces. 3 Israeli fighter jets are reported to have launched 2 missiles in that area in western Damascus. Officially, 1 person is reported dead and there are at least 6 injured. The Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps announced the death of 4 of its military advisors in Syria following the Israeli attack on Damascus. The institution described as criminal the Israeli airstrike against the Syrian capital, which also caused the destruction of a 3-story building, damage to neighboring buildings, and the death of several civilians. The Iranian Ministry of Defense confirmed that during the Israeli attack, the head of the intelligence of the Revolutionary Guard in Syria, his deputy, and 2 other members of the military body were killed. The military office confirmed that the aggression was registered after 10 a.m. this Saturday morning, local time, from the Syrian Golan occupied by Israel, and that in response the anti-aircraft defense was activated, which managed to shoot down several missiles. On Friday, the governments of Iran and Pakistan agreed to de-escalate the confrontations, which have left many people dead. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Hamir Abdollahian and his Pakistani counterpart Jalil Abbas Gilani met and have agreed to resume the dialogue. Throughout the week, the air forces of both countries conducted heavy raids. The crisis began in the troubled border region of Baluchistan. Tensions got so high that the Pakistani Prime Minister Anwar ul-Haqqar walked out of the Davos Forum in Switzerland. After the agreement, the Iranian foreign minister said that cooperation between Islamabad and Tehran is key to neutralize terrorism. We're going to take a second and final short break, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. A final short break, don't go away. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization has admitted being involved in new plans against Russia as part of the alleged threats to be faced by the North Atlantic Alliance. According to information from the bloc's military committee, NATO will initiate its Steadfast Defender 2024 military exercise in a week, one of the largest in decades, which will last several months and will involve some 90,000 military personnel. According to the international organization's authorities, the maneuvers will be held in Germany, Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania territories and will be the biggest since the Cold War. Several media referring to a secret document of German armed forces indicated that these maneuvers take place as a warm-up for an alleged conflict between Russia and NATO, which they predict could start in 2025. The European Union has announced an increase in the manufacturing of ammunition throughout 2024 to supply Ukraine. European Union Domestic Market Commissioner Thierry Breton said that before the end of 2024, production capacity may reach between 1.3 and 1.4 million projectiles, which he said would be sent to Ukraine to help the armed forces of the Kiev regime in their conflict with Russia. Despite warnings that sending more weapons to Ukraine would only extend the conflict with Russia, the Western powers, especially the United States and most members of the European Union, insist on rearming Ukraine. In China, authorities reported 13 dead in a fire on Friday night in a school dormitory in Yanchangpu village, Henan province. The official report indicates that the fire broke out at 11 p.m. local time at the Jinkai school. At the moment, authorities are investigating the origin of the fire, and at least one person linked to the school has been arrested. The village of Yanchangpu is located on the outskirts of Nanyang, a city of nearly 10 million people. The cold wave that is sweeping across the United States has already left 59 people dead and 85,000 homes without power in areas with temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius. Over 100 million people are struggling with this Arctic wave that has been sweeping the country for the past 7 days. Among the cities hardest hit by the freeze are Arkansas, Illinois, Kansas, Oregon, Tennessee, and Chicago. The highest number of deaths was reported in Tennessee, in the south of the country, with 19 deaths. Classes have been suspended in several states as temperatures will continue to drop. The world could be heading for a new supply crisis not only because of tensions in the Red Sea but also because of the severe drought affecting the Panama Canal. The extreme drought caused by the El Niño phenomenon leaves millions of dollars in losses in the supply chain. Companies that provide fuel, food, and delivery services report a decrease in income of up to 50%. The president of the Panama Logistics Business Council, Hugo Torrijos, said that the decrease of vessels currently traveling is from 38 to 24. The administrator of the Panama Canal Authority also gave an account of the millionaire losses suffered by the country. In Brazil, 2 women drowned when they were swept away by the waters of the storm that hit the state of Sao Paulo. The civil defense reported that the victims, who were a mother and a daughter aged 70 and 35 respectively, were swept away by the current in the city of Limeira when they got out of their vehicle to try to avoid being swept away by the water. These deaths are added to those of 4 other people who lost their lives last week, also in the state of Sao Paulo, and another 12 deaths that occurred in the neighboring state of Rio de Janeiro due to heavy rains. The weather phenomenon has affected a total of 15,000 people since it began. In Peru, weather authorities warn about the risk of flooding due to heavy rains caused by the influence of the El Niño phenomenon. According to Peru's National Meteorology and Hydrology Service, snow, hail, and rainfall of moderate to heavy intensity are expected until Sunday. So far, more than 300 districts in at least 13 regions are under alert. The National Institute of Civil Defense urged local and regional authorities to check, clear, and signal evacuation routes, as well as the availability of health services, firefighters, and police. The Multi-Sectorial Commission, focused on the national study of the El Niño, estimates that it will continue in weak warm conditions until March. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our social media on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.